Hey guys, this is Thoth from the Batsquatch podcast. I was just letting you know that if you're down on your luck, you ain't got any money, and you're sick of begging your parents for money to buy a beer or anything at all, download the Anchor app. The Anchor app is the easiest way to make a podcast. I mean, it's almost as easy as breathing. They distribute it for you. They teach you how to do basically everything. It's kind of like guided meditation for the podcast enthusiast. I mean, this is the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. I mean, I can't think of anything that's easier or more fun than getting on the Anchor app and making a podcast. So get on board and try it out. It's amazing. Thanks. Hello. Hey guys, welcome back to the Batsquatch podcast. This is Thoth. This podcast is about spirituality, UFOs, weightlifting, and paganism. And pretty much whatever else or whatever kind of crazy stuff I can find on the internet or I've experienced in real life. I just saw a post on Google that says that Gwyneth Paltrow has a vagina candle. It says Gwyneth Paltrow's new candle is entitled "It Smells Like My Vagina." Wow. That's a potent title for a candle. And it says it's $75. And my only question is, what took so long, you know? I mean, why did it take so long to make that scent of a candle? You know, if you've ever watched her cooking show, it probably smells really awesome because everything she cooks is amazing. But I wonder if Britney Spears is now going to have a candle that's called "It Smells Like Cheetos and McDonald's." You know, I mean, as a celebrity is going to start copying this trend with the vagina scented candles or armpit candles. You know, is Shaq going to have a pizza scented armpit candle sweat mix? You know, toothpaste that smells like my vagina, deodorant that smells like my armpits. I mean, it's insane, but it's really kind of brilliant at the same time. $75. Your house can smell like Gwyneth Paltrow's on a Saturday night after a few glasses of wine and a few bong hits. It's crazy, but that's the way it goes nowadays. I mean, we live in the second time in human history where every drop of knowledge is available to every person on the planet. And there is no excuse. Well, that really does destroy all excuses. Whatever people are whining about, crying about, or complaining about, all you have to do is click on the internet and find the solution. Especially in health and fitness, you know, and weight loss, bodybuilding, strength, all these sort of things. I had a guy ask me the other day why I'm in the gym every single day. It was one of those annoying, like, desk people, the sales associate at the gym. that has all power and wields a bolt of lightning and thinks they know everything they can imagine. He asked me, why do you come to the gym every day? And I said, to fight the Batsquatch, man. What the fuck do you think I'm in the gym? I'm in the gym to fight Batsquatch. Why do I lift weights? To fight the Batsquatch. Why do I go to MMA every day? To fight the Batsquatch. I'm not doing this for my health. I'm going to fight this motherfucker, and I'm going to find him, and I'm going to knock him the fuck out. I'm going to choke this motherfucker. I'm going to put him in a fucking arm bar, upside down, 40 feet in the air. I'm going to fall through fucking trees, and I'm going to land on somebody that's playing some stupid-ass guitar in the middle of the Washington woods in Seattle, in the Mount Adams, and I'm going to smash that motherfucker's guitar, and he's going to cry, and I'm going to kick him in the balls. Because I don't give a fuck. I lift weights, and I train MMA 3 hours a day to fight the Batsquatch. That's my primary source of exercise. I don't care what my ejection fraction, my VO2 max is coming out of the left ventricle of my heart. I don't care how much fucking weight I'm putting up. I don't care how strong my grip strength is. I'm here to fucking knock these motherfuckers down. I'm here to beat down mythical creatures and find their asses and tell them what the fuck's up. Because there's so many stories of people, like they see Sasquatch in the woods, they're like, oh my God, I shit my pants right in front of my wife. And it's like, dude, go step up and kick Sasquatch in the fucking nuts. Fight these fuckers. Fight them. That's the last thing they're going to expect, is some dude to run up to them and kick them straight in the square in the fucking nuts, and then grab him by the fucking neck and fucking elbow his ass in the head, and he will fall to the fucking ground. I guarantee you that. These type of creatures, that's the last thing they're expecting, because they've been here for millions of years and nobody stepped up to their ass. That's going to freak them the fuck out. I guarantee you that. And it's not only just the Batsquatch. I'm gonna fight the fucking dog man. I'm gonna fight the chupacabra. I'm gonna kick the chupacabra right in the fucking balls and watch his ass fly and do a somersault, backflip and land on somebody's fucking back windshield. And then I'm gonna fight the person in that car who comes out of the car, who's all pissed off, and I'm going to kick them in the head, choke their buddy out, and smash the beer bottle over their fucking front windshield. Because I don't care. Because I just saved their ass. What do you think the chupacabra was going to do? He's going to fucking kill your ass. He's going to jump in your car and fucking eat your nose off. Just like that crazy guy in Florida that smoked too much bath salt, thought he was a zombie. But that's another thing. Don't smoke bath salt. It will start the zombie apocalypse. Guaranteed. When the mass population gets a hold of bath salts, it's a zombie apocalypse. Just giving you guys a heads up. And, if you want to start the zombie apocalypse, put bath salts in the water supplies. Because it'll turn everyone into a zombie. It's proven in Florida. That dude turned straight up into a zombie and ate that guy's nose. And like I said, if the guy with no nose would have started lifting weights, started doing MMA, he would have beat that zombie down. You know what I mean? I mean, your best chance is if you can knock a zombie out and then run and then find some weapon to something like a knife or something, or to put into its brain. That's how you kill it. But you got to train. You've got to get in the gym. You've got to lift weights. You've got to hit the bag. You've got to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You've got to train boxing, Muay Thai, all these things if you're going to survive the zombie apocalypse. And if you want to actually stand a chance against a Batsquatch. You know, this is what you got to do. Because there's only been 3 sightings in Washington State. And those people who saw the Batsquatch up there, they were pretty credible people. They were normal people. They weren't these crazy drunk people shooting beer cans in the middle of the forest. These are normal people. But you got to be able to defend yourself. You know what I mean? And that goes with you. That goes for UFOs too. One thing I wanted to tell you guys is that the number of UFO abductions has dropped significantly since the 2000s. Since the year 2000, the rate of abductions is way down. It's almost, I think the number reported at the National UFO Reporting Center and from MUFON, I think it dropped to about 74% drop in UFO abductions. But here's the thing. If you see an alien, beat its ass down. Beat that motherfucker down. If it's the little gray one, if it's a normal size gray one, if it's a lizard man, reptile type person, if it doesn't have a bright shining light around it, and it doesn't give off the vibe of unconditional love, then attack it. Beat the hell out of it. Kill it. It's because guess what? It's not human. It's not human. Those gray ones, those reptile people, all that shit. If it's not human, kill it. Beat the fuck out of that motherfucker. Because like I told you before, if you fight an alien that has muscles, right? Who's intelligent, it'll flip. It'll send it in a 180. That alien will do a 180, and they'll go on the path, the spiritual path to enlightenment. You don't have to, because if you see a reptile person or an alien with muscles, your best bet is to do a single leg takedown and take it to the ground, because anyone who's taken Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu knows that on the ground, muscles mean nothing. Steroids mean nothing. It's all about skill and technical knowledge and leverage. You take that alien to the ground, you get in the mount, and you elbow its face over and over again. Embrace the adrenaline. Elbow that fucker in the face and don't stop. Puke on its face if you get tired. Puke on it. Let the puke flow. And knock it out. Knock it the hell out. And when it wakes up, it will respect you, because that's the culture. And it'll go on to enlightenment. I guarantee you that if you knock out an alien who's muscular, it'll wake up and it'll ask you about meditation. It'll ask you about the ascended masters. And it'll ask you for advice. It'll ask you, what do you meditate? It's like, no, motherfucker, I just meditate it when I go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, bitch. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the only time I meditated. I just knocked you the hell out, choked your ass out. But refer it to Buddha, to Zen, to Paramahansa Yogananda, Kriya Yoga, these type of things. Because I mean, look, you never know. You might have a physical fight with an alien 20 years from now, 15 years from now, you never know. It could happen, you know what I mean? And you got to be prepared. You got to know mixed martial arts. You got to listen to Joe Rogan. You got to take his advice. You got to eat healthy. You got to stay in a positive mindset. You got to train MMA. Get those damn kettlebells and start training. Smoke weed and enjoy your life. You know what I mean? The aliens who are still here are more psychically tough. They'll try and mess with your head. They'll try and get inside your head and show you images and confuse you psychically. So that's why you got to meditate, so that your subconscious, your mind, is stronger than theirs. You got to. One good thing to do is to explore Kundalini yoga, specifically Kundalini meditation, because this more spiritual work that you do, the harder it is for a psychic alien to put hallucinations and images in your head, you know, so they can hit you with a punch or kick you in the head or something like that. So the more spiritual work you do, the harder it is for them to do that. The healthier you eat, the harder it is for them to do that. And there's all sorts of like diet advice in the UFO world, UFO community, you know, and the paranormal community. You have like stuff like the electric diet, of course vegan, you know. Some people are breatharians. They live off air. They don't specifically live off of air. What they live off of is the life force, or the chi, or the prana that comes from the Great Spirit or the Creator, Vishnu, the All, you know, whatever you want to call it. That's where the energy is coming from, is the Creator. And they claim to live off of it. And Paramahansa Yogananda met some of these people. He met a woman in India who, she would live off of, I think it was one leaf from a tree, like a little leaf. I think it was a tree. She would live off that leaf once a year. She'd only eat one leaf once a year, and the rest of the time she was living off the energy coming from the Great Spirit. And you also have sun gazing. Sun gazing is a way to get you to the point where you don't need to eat anymore, where you're in that same kind of position where you're living off of the energy coming from the Great Spirit, Vishnu, the All, whatever you want to call it. And the difference is that with sun gazing, it increases longevity. So like, say, like a breatharian who would live a fairly normal lifespan, 70 to 100 years. Well, I guess right nowadays about 70 to 80 years. And then someone who sun gazes is going to move easily past 100. And the thing is that most of the time, people who do the sun gazing generally retreat out of society and end up in the Himalayas, in the caves up there, with the other masters, ascended masters. And there are other ways. If you're not into spirituality or meditation, or I mean, if you want to fight an alien spiritually, there are ways to do that where you don't have to choke them out or knock them out or punch them or kick them in the balls. You can engage in psychic warfare and spiritual self-defense, and that's one thing that a lot of the higher dimensional aliens do, because they're here and they are protecting a lot of people, but you have to ask for their protection. Some of the pictures on the pyramids have pictures of human people with lion heads, and dog heads and things like that. And some of those pictures are of Egyptian people with a mask on, and those are considered battle masks. But the majority of them are actual aliens who are benevolent spiritual masters. And like I said before, if you see an alien that's not human, and it doesn't give off a vibe of love, and it doesn't have bright golden light around it, then it's trying to mess with you, and you need to beat it down, beat the hell out of it. But if you see an alien that's not human, and you see a big, huge golden light around it, and you feel unconditional love, then it's okay to approach them. And majority of them are going to be 15 feet tall, and they're going to have a lion's head, the head of a lion, a human body, but the body's going to be a lion, with like human hands and things like that. And I've met those beings face to face, and they're extremely, extremely kind, extremely benevolent, and practice unconditional love. And they exist in the higher planes, higher dimensions, and they are spiritual masters, and they will protect you if you ask for their protection. There were a lot of those aliens like that, the lion aliens who existed when Krishna was here on the earth, way back, you're going back millions of years, hundreds of millions of years. I don't personally believe that Krishna died 3500 BC, because first of all, you can't kill Krishna. He gave up his body, and he thanked that woman for saying, "I hope you die," and all this stuff, and then he gets shot with the arrow and all that. That's all intentional, and because you can't kill an avatar. Avatars can't die; they're immortal. They come here from the highest dimensions, the highest spiritual realms, and they come down here to help us. They're like bodhisattvas. They come down to help us reach enlightenment, to help us become spiritual masters. That's another way of saying enlightenment is spiritual master. Because what happens when you reach enlightenment? You become a spiritual master. And you also have the monkey people, like Hanuman. I've met Hanuman. I've had past lives with Hanuman, and he is a very benevolent, very kind alien or spiritual master. And of course, they come from different worlds, so technically they're all aliens and everything, but they're also coming from higher spiritual planes, and there are planets on those higher spiritual planes. And he was one of them that came down here, and he was very, very powerful and a very effective teacher. And he's had several incarnations during our time, Maharaji was a incarnation of Hanuman, who was Ram Dass's guru, and Hanuman was a great master, and he's still around. He's about 15 feet tall, and he'll help you if you ask for his help. He'll protect you. He's very, very kind and very protective. But if you reach if you reach enlightenment, you become immortal. True enlightenment. A lot of people claim enlightenment, but they're not. They're not enlightened. There are physical signs. The body fills with light. All of your spiritual bodies merge with your physical body, and light projects out of your eyes, out of your hands, all these sort of things. And you remember all your past lives, you remember how to do everything. You remember everything. And you're no longer mortal. You can't be killed. And you can heal people just by a thought. If they touch you, they're healed. The Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama did this. Krishna did this. All of them. They've all done this, including Jesus or Yeshua, not the historical Jesus. I'm talking about the real guy. Yeshua ben Joseph was a real spiritual master that was immortal, who never died. He was an avatar, just like the other masters. And Babaji, Master Babaji, is still alive. He's still in the Himalayas, and he can help too. You just have to ask him for help. You can ask all the ascended masters for help, and they'll help you out. But there are a lot of ways to defend yourself psychically. But the base of it all is meditation, daily meditation, and meditation, just like practicing Tai Chi all day, every day. Meditation attracts divine or eternal knowledge, and you will be able to learn these type of things, how to set up a spiritual wall around you. You'll be able to project positive energy. If you have, say a lizard person appear to you while you're meditating, and you don't want to get up and beat the fuck out of them, all you have to do is send them unconditional love. If you don't want to fight an alien, if you send them unconditional love, and they'll go away. It works every time. And then after they disappear, you call on the lion beings, or you call on Hanuman, or an ascended master, or Archangel Michael, all these type of things, or you can clear the energy, clear the space, these type of things. But it's a very effective technique, is to offer them unconditional love, because they're not into that. They don't care. They don't want that. They're about negativity, negative energy, emotional energy, specifically more emotional energy. That's what they want. That's what they want from you. They want to strike fear into you, some sort of emotion, so that they can draw that psychically off of you. And anybody who's gone to the astral plane, who's left their body and gone to the astral plane, you see this all the time. You see that constantly happening, of people being energy being taken from people, not taken, but drawn off of them, all over the place. Emotional energy, these type of things. That's what they're after. So, but it just it boggles my mind that in this day and age, in the age of information, that people still have excuses for, for not knowing something. Because I hear that I'll ask somebody like, what's your, how did you get your PR? How did you get your personal record? And he's just like, just Google that shit. I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to tell you how my weightlifting routine, my powerlifting routine. It's like Google it, and that's what you need to do. There's a lot of stuff. There's everything. One thing I wanted to talk about was that this is the second time in world history where every ounce of information is available to everyone. We had this back in the Atlantis and Lemurian age or time when those continents were here. Most everyone who's into spirituality, who's in the New Age movement, when I say the New Age movement, I mean the good New Age movement, not the negative one. They say, well, there's no negativity in New Age. It's all love and light. It's like, no, there's two different versions. There's one version of New Age, the New Age movement, that was started in Stanford in the 60s. Stanford research, the CIA worked a system in there and created their version of the New Age movement. And that's the one you see everywhere today. And people don't clear their energies in the New Age movement because they believe that negativity, you don't think anything negative, so you won't attract anything negative, right? And that's what the Stanford research developed, that concept, and put it out to the public. And it's a farce. You need to clear your energies. You need to ask for protection before you meditate, before you do anything spiritual. You ask for protection from the masters, or you can do it from your higher self, your soul, or you can simply just ask the Mother Earth, or you can simply ask the elements for protection. Then you can go ahead and meditate, do whatever spiritual thing you want. But this concept of, if you mention anything negative, you're going to attract it, is ridiculous. And these concepts were developed in Stanford back in the 60s. The real New Age movement, the positive, or the good New Age movement, came out of the New Thought movement, and was developed naturally, came about naturally, and basically pretty much almost everything is spiritually that exists. Almost everything, not everything, but pretty much everything spiritual that's around, philosophies and all these sort of things, are just basically Hinduism. Almost everything that you see and hear exists in Hinduism, in Hindu thought. Like Vedanta. Where did Vedanta come from? Well, it came from Hinduism. And all these sort of things. That's the source of everything. A lot of these New Age concepts are just reworded Hinduism for Westerners. But back in the time of Atlantis, back in my day, we didn't have cars. We could teleport. I could teleport, kick somebody in the balls, and teleport back to Atlantis, and they never know I was there. Yeah, no clue. I could teleport, dump my beer on their head, and teleport back to Atlantis. But they had high technology that gave them access to the Akashic records. When I say the Akashic records, I mean the spiritual grid that covers the earth, that covers the atmosphere of the earth, covers everything in the earth, around the earth, in the earth. And that grid connects you to your higher self or your soul, which knows everything anyway, right? And so they knew everything. They could just, but you'd have to psychically tap in. That's the only difference. Today you just hit a button on your phone. Back then you had to sit down and psychically connect. But they had areas, chambers. They had chambers where you could go in, where they had these giant crystals, and just sit there, and you're automatically tapped in. It's kind of like, and same concept with the pyramids. The pyramids are the same thing. You go into the pyramids, you sit down and close your eyes, start breathing, and you're tapped into the grid or the Akashic records, whatever you want to call it. And you can access anything, and you can know anything. There's no type of knowledge that you can't find, that you don't know of, and it's instantly you know it and understand it, and you have it in your memory permanently. And a lot of people who are alive right now, who were born from the 70s, I guess around late 60s, 70s, 80s, most of us are all incarnated from Atlantis. We had lives in Atlantis and Lemuria. And I know I have vivid memories of living in Atlantis. And it was an amazing place. But like most things, the reason why Atlantis went down and Lemuria collapsed and all that was because you also have negative souls who incarnated into physical bodies in those societies and started causing problems. Started to build militaries and started wanting to go to war. Started that whole culture, the military-industrial complex. Started building that type of culture, war culture. And eventually, that's what the war is. What Lemuria went to war with Atlantis, and vice versa. And Atlantis attacked Lemuria first. And you got to realize back then that they had space travel. They had space. They could travel through space, through the universe, all that sort of stuff. They had that and still have that. The survivors. I mean, well, there's the spiritual masters saw all this coming months before and tried to warn everybody, but nobody listened. So the spiritual masters took a large, about 5,000 people from Lemuria and left. They left the city and created another city in the inner earth. The inner earth. And they're still there today, but they're in a higher dimension. They're in the 6th dimension, or the higher spiritual plane, the 6th higher spiritual plane. So they have to lower their spiritual energy for us to see them here. And so Atlantis dropped a nuke on Lemuria, which burrowed into the soil and sunk the continent. And then Lemuria was orbiting the Earth. They had ships up there, and they saw that, and they dropped a meteor on the Atlantis and sunk that continent. And that's what happened there. But I wanted to tell you guys that not all of the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, not all of them are like the Batsquatch. The Batsquatch is different. Batsquatch is nefarious. It wants to fuck you up, right? It wants to mess with you. It wants to mess you up. The Bigfoot, Sasquatch, they're they're human. They're human people who are mostly 95% spiritual masters or benevolent, and they walk in unconditional love. But you do have a small percentage, just like everything else and everywhere else, in all cultures, everything that exists. You have a small percentage who are evil, who will try to mess with you. Usually you can tell because they have red eyes. If you see a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch and it's got red eyes, beat that motherfucker down. Beat it down. That's the one you want to shoot or throw a knife into its heart, whatever, because that's evil, you know. I mean, I always watch like these. I like watching the Bigfoot TV shows, hunting Bigfoot, finding Sasquatch, whatever. And those guys are fully armed, AR-15s, all that stuff, and that's what they don't tell you. They should say, "Hey, look, I got a 9mm just in case." But here's the thing: you ever watch these Bigfoot shows, and it's like nobody ever says, "You know what? I got some roofies. I'm gonna roofie Bigfoot, and then I'm gonna take him to the United Nations and say, look, this fucker exists." You know what I mean? I mean, roofie Bigfoot. You know what I mean? That's how you get shit done. You know what I mean? Nobody thinks to do that. Only reason I know about it is because of growth hormone in the gym. I see people in the gym locker room shooting growth hormone into their abdomen, and then they have to have their wife take them home because they passed out on the floor of the gym locker room because they're idiots. Because growth hormone makes you go to sleep. Your muscles can't grow unless you're asleep. It's crazy. But all you got to do is roofie Bigfoot, and he's out. You don't need no tranquilizer. Just roofie his ass. And then if you're scared, get some chloroform him, and just in case you're scared, he's going to wake up. You know what I mean? But only do it if it's got red eyes. Okay, the red eyes are a dead giveaway. I don't know. It's got to be something in their DNA changes when they choose a negative path. Now the Sasquatch, majority of them are benevolent, are nice, and they're unconditional love. They won't harm us at all, and they love us unconditionally. And they're human beings. They're humans. They were brought here by the creator aliens. And now that goes back into a whole nother story about the aliens who helped the Great Spirit create this planet and other planets and all that stuff. That's a whole nother topic. But these creator aliens are human. They look just like us. They're 10, 12 feet tall. Mixed race. That's another thing, too. You got to realize a lot of these human aliens, like to the population of Atlantis and Lemuria, they were mixed race. They were a group of 12 different aliens from different planets who came here to settle and just colonize and live a life. And, of course, everything, just like every society, ends in war. Pretty much. But the creator aliens are mixed race. Majority of them they're about 12 feet tall, I say, on average. But the creator aliens, they brought Sasquatch here when the Earth, they brought the Sasquatch here during the time of the dinosaurs. And the Sasquatch, because they were more of a nature-oriented of human people, the Sasquatch were brought here to help with the terraforming of this planet. And then they stayed here to help maintain and help maintain the ecosystem and nature. And they have a direct psychic link with Mother Earth and her spirit, her soul that's inside. They can talk to her telepathically at will. So the Sasquatch people, or Sasquatch society, human society, because they're humans, human aliens is what they are. They were brought here during the dinosaurs. And then the creator god, or the creator aliens, they brought the original human beings to this planet as well, about 500,000 years after that. And the original human beings, they were 8 to 10 feet tall, extremely muscular, and had a lot of hair on their bodies. And they were brought here to live, to have a life, and to live and create societies. But they weren't here to create societies like we have now. They were here to create spiritual societies. The original human beings that the creator aliens brought here were extremely psychic, very spiritually gifted. Even though they look kind of, they look really hairy. They have a lot of hair on their bodies, not on their face, but just on their bodies. They're not like Sasquatch, just kind of just hair all over, and they're 10 feet tall, extremely muscular. But they were also spiritually gifted, and they were able to create spiritual societies and advance themselves spiritually very easily. You reach enlightenment, go to the higher spiritual realms, come back to the planet, and that's what the Sasquatch do also. And that's why you never see a Sasquatch body, because they don't live here. They live in the higher dimensions, because they were also spiritually gifted. And so they live in the higher spiritual planes, and they come down here to help maintain nature and help Mother Earth and talk to her and see what she wants help with and things like that. Then they leave. They go to the higher dimensions. But you do have the small percentage of bad ones who are negative, who are around, but they can also dematerialize and go to the fourth plane, or the fourth dimension that's right above ours. And so that's why you don't get their bodies either. But one thing the Sasquatch told me, they said this is what they said to me. They said, you were, or I'm talking about not Sasquatch, the original human beings that were brought to this planet, the original humans. They told me, they said that you were us before the Ice Age. And what that meant was, and they showed me a vision of what it looked like and what happened there. What he was saying is that there was a large population of the original human beings on this planet when other alien groups came and colonized and built cities, pyramid type cities and things like that. And this is about 500,000 years I'd say about 20,000 years ago. And, I think it was about 15. Yeah, somewhere around there. They needed help with different things, operations and things like that. They didn't have enough people. So they asked the original humans if they would help. And they told them, look, we'll change your genetics. We'll make you look like us. We'll change their physical features. But you're going to lose you're not going to be as muscular. You're going to be thinner. You're going to be the same height, but you're just going to be thinner. Your faces will look different and stuff, and it'll be good for everybody. And that way you can fit inside of our ships, and you can do the same, go into areas what we need help with, and things like that. And a lot of certain amount of the original humans agreed to that. And of course, that stopped their spiritual progression because they turned off a lot of their DNA, their spiritual DNA and spiritual centers of their body, and that's and that's and now that's who we are. They those aliens changed the original humans to look like we do now. That's why we look like we do now. That's why we look like those Sumerian pictures or those Sumerian engravings and statues where the people have a human face like ours, because those were the aliens that came here and asked the original humans to help them. But the original human population, they've already transcended, gone up to the higher dimensions. They did it really fast, and not all of them. A lot of them, like I said, there was a large population. So, but they still look the same. The original humans, they're huge, 10 foot tall, very muscular. Their bodies are very hairy, but their faces aren't. The faces are normal, and the women are they're extremely attractive. They look like supermodels. But like, I don't know, supermodels are tall, but 10 feet. I mean, come on, But they're the same as the Sasquatch, very kind, loving, benevolent, and they're here to help us, and they care about us. But I was in the gym. I don't know, was it about a year ago? And I saw these two dudes. I was in the corner doing deadlifts. And by the way, if you're not doing deadlifts, you need to start, because that is the definition of strength, is a deadlift. If you're not doing deadlifts, you need to start doing it, even if it's a small amount of weight. So I was doing deadlifts, and I see these two dudes, they just started arguing. They started yelling at each other. And I know both of them. I was friends with both of them. The one guy he competed professionally in the world's strongest man competition. The other guy was a MMA fighter, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter. So these two dudes, it escalated fast. The MMA guy punched the other guy, the world's strongest man guy, in the face. Strongest man guy grabbed the guy, put him in a headlock. Then the MMA guy swept his legs and took him to the ground. And the MMA guy got on top of him, and he got in the mount and started punching him in the face. He got about 3 punches in. Then the world's strongest man guy pulled the MMA guy's head down and started putting him into a neck crank. If you've seen the old UFCs, you know what a neck crank is. It's extremely painful. And he's cranking on this guy's neck, and the MMA guy, he breaks out of that, and they start punching again, and they're exchanging punches, and the MMA guy was able to put his hands over the world's strongest man guy's eyes. And he swung his legs up sideways. So he's like sitting on his chest sideways. And he got this world's strongest man guy into an arm bar. And I'm not talking about a regular arm bar. I'm talking about Ronda Rousey arm bar. And if you watch the UFC, you know what a Ronda Rousey arm bar is. And that's game over. Just because your feet are in a certain position, and it's only a matter of time before your elbow is snapped in half. Now these guys, I don't think they were going to try to do anything that damaging, but they were pissed. And it was for real. This was a real fight, and one person needs to be either knocked out or choked out or thrown into a wall or something like that. It was intense. This was a real fight. And like, these two guys weren't friends, but I was friends with both of them. I knew both of them. I lifted with them and known them for years. So the MMA guy, he gets the strongman guy in a Ronda Rousey armbar, and that's game over. That's the end. You have to tap. I mean, of course, there's ways to get out of it, but 9 times out of 10, Ronda Rousey, once she gets you in an armbar, it's over. That's the end. So what happened was the world's strongest man guy, he grabs the jiu-jitsu guy's shoe. He grabs his shoe and throws it off, throws it onto the floor. He grabs his sock and throws his sock onto the floor. And I'm just like, what in the fuck is this guy doing? You know what I mean? So what if he doesn't have his shoe on? You're still in an armbar. You have about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, however long he holds that armbar, right? And if you don't tap, something's going to get strained, pulled, ripped. You know, I don't think he would ever break the arm, but he would strain it, or, maybe pull out a ligament, something like that. You know what I mean? Rip some of the forearm, something like that. And so the world's strongest man guy, he gets the sock off, throws it on the floor. He grabs the guy's big toe. And he grabs his big toe and just starts squeezing. And this guy's hand is massive. He's the world's strongest man, professional competitor. He squeezes on that toe. And this is a gym that doesn't have music. And he's squeezing it. I can hear everybody standing around him at this point. There's a circle around him. And we could hear the bones crunching. He's crunching. He's breaking this guy's big toe. And everybody could hear the bones starting to crunch. And so as soon as the jiu-jitsu guy heard his own toe being crunched, his bones were being crushed by this world's strongest man guy. Everybody could hear it. The bone was being destroyed. It was crunching and just breaking. And I mean, this guy is strong as hell and just would not let go of that toe. And it's the sound of bone crunching is something you never forget. And I'll never get it out of my head. It's burned into my head. The sound got more intense. Like it started to have a popping sound, a crunching and a popping. And when the jiu-jitsu guy heard that, he let go of the armbar. He released the armbar. And and after that, they hugged and became friends. And then they had mutual respect for each other. And they realized what they were arguing about was totally stupid, like most things. And the jiu-jitsu guy, he hobbled to the locker room and put some ice packs on his toe because I think it was stress fractures. And because he came back with a splint on his big toe. He couldn't squat or do anything. He had to stay off of that toe for about a week. Then he was back in the gym. But that is one thing you might want to think about when you're on the ground is crunching bones, squeezing toes, squeezing fingers, crunching little parts of a person's body will get you out of a choke, an armbar. It'll save you. It's something nobody thinks about, and it's a way to win a fight because nobody wants, a broken bone or a crushed bone for God's sakes. But I just want to give you guys that story because that's, it's a unique way to win a fight, and I just thought that story was just crazy. I'd never seen anything like it. It was intense. It was just wild. But anyway, I'm gonna head out. So hope you guys like this podcast and hope you guys have a great day and hope you stay healthy. I'll see you later. Bye.